gentlemen, welcome to Dork Entertainment. We have a very special review today. We've got the Lion King remake, we could call it. The Lion King, brought to you by Disney. We went and watched this movie twice. Before we start, so first we've got some of the merchandise from Event Cinema. So thank you to Event Cinema for some of this merchandise. You want to...
Yeah, so that's the one that we got from Event Cinemas. It's got the Lion King, it's got the Simba, and there's a beautiful cup with the very nice view. So yeah, it was...
That was from Event Cinema.
Event Cinemas, yeah.
And this one we've got here from Hoyts. So thank you to Hoyts for this awesome drink bottle here. It is actually metallic. It is quite durable. I think it's just a normal cup. I think, normal drink bottle.
I like the material.
So that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the metal tin, I think it's brilliant. It's got a very simple design. It's got like a matte finish, and there's a nice bronzing on there as well of the design.
Love that colour.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And good thing that it has this cap, whereas for this one, I was actually looking for the cap.
There was no cap for the Event Cinema one, but there is a cap.
Cap for that one.
For the
brilliant Hoyts.
Hoyts Cinema. So
that's really
brilliant.
great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll love it.
Okay, so let's move on to the movie. So we'll start with your review, with your score. What did you think of The Lion King?
I think that I really enjoyed it. I would give the score 7.5 out of 10.
7.5 out of 10, okay.
Yes.
My score for Lion King is a 7 out of 10. And I'll explain why shortly. I'll also like to put in here Sumit Joseph's score as well. He couldn't be here with us for the review, but his score was 4.5 out of 10. So he really did not enjoy the movie, I don't think. But we'll move on to what we thought of the movie. Lion King is one of these movies where it's very dear to our hearts. The cartoon was a big part of our lives growing up. Yeah. Singing along to all of the songs, that was the best part. And the characters were so lively, and the characters were so relatable and energetic. It was just brilliant. And the comedy was so good. You could relate to the problems of some of these characters that they face in the movie. Just moving forward. I mean, it is going to be there is spoilers in this review, but I'm sure most of you should already know the story of The Lion King. And this remake is actually pretty much the same story.
It's a remake.
It doesn't change much at all.
No.
I don't think Disney wanted to tinker with the story too much because it is their baby. And it is one of their favourite movies, and I don't really think they wanted to tinker too much or take it into a different direction. Which some critics have been saying that it is the same thing. They didn't really do anything much different to the story, but you can imagine like this movie is going to make so much money for them, and really like it's one of their top grossing movies, and they really don't want to change too much of it. I'm sure if they did change it, there would be a lot of outrage as well. People would be like, why did they change The Lion King? So really, you can't really win. You're going to have your critics. So we'll start off with the CGI, the technical aspects of the movie. So the CGI, that was, I'm telling you, one of the best movies I have seen just for the CGI. The computer-generated graphic is so good. Like, it just... The photorealism of the characters, it is so real, and that really is what brings you to watch this movie in the big screen. The photorealism of the characters. Now, that also plays a little bit in its downfall. The voice acting, which and the music, which they match with the CGI, sometimes it doesn't quite go with it, as in the emotions that are supposed to come with a certain dialogue, it doesn't really, the human emotions that we know, it doesn't actually come across in the animals. So, the animals in this movie don't emote quite as much as, we would have seen previously in the cartoon version. But yeah, that is a bit of a disappointing aspect because there is a bit of a disconnect there. But look, overall, if you watch this movie, the CGI is so good. Now, I had a bit of an issue with the sound in the cinema because the sound was quite low.
Yes.
And I'm not, I remember watching The Lion King previously. It was really loud with the cartoon. But, we watched it. It was quite low. Samit also watched it and he also said it was quite low as well. So I don't know if that's something to do with the mixing, but yeah, it was quite low.
Yeah.
We'll move on a bit to the characters. So the characters. Who was your favorite character in this movie?
Oh well, for me, my favorite character probably was the Pumbaa and Timon. The friendship that they have portrayed, and the scenes that they've created. I think that those were really magical for me. They had some punchlines in there. Just it was funny. It was funny to watch both 100%. Of them. So what about you?
So I really enjoyed Pumbaa and Timon.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go through some of the positives, some of the positive characters that came across. So Pumbaa and Timon, they stuck with their comic, characters from the cartoon. Scar, I thought Scar was a little bit different, but he was played really well.
Scar was awesome.
Like he really looks sinister,
yeah.
And he sounds sinister, and he was one of my favorite characters.
Yes. Yeah.
Zazu did pretty well as well. Zazu was excellent. And you know what? Some of the other characters were a bit disappointing. So young Simba, he was okay. Glover as the older Simba, like he didn't really get much scope, I felt. Big letdown for me was Rafiki.
Yeah.
So in this movie, I felt they were sort of stuck between doing something, closer to reality or going back to the cartoon. And I think some characters were lost in between there. Rafiki was one of them because in the cartoon, Rafiki has this craziness about him. He's an old, wise, monkey and
senior monkey.
Yeah, senior monkey. But he has a crazy side to it. He just flips a switch and he just laughs like a crazy monkey. But in this one, I felt they've taken that craziness out, and he is more realistic in terms of an old, wise monkey. And I was a bit disappointed there with
Rafiki. They took
Rafiki.
that funny character out of him. Yeah. And they kept it pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Things for him. And also Nala, like I didn't feel they portrayed Nala very well in the movie as well.
Beyonce is great. Love her singing, but her voice acting in this Nala, it's just I don't know. It just did not suit.
Did not suit her.
I don't know why. There was certain dialogues when she was speaking. It was great, but it just did not. The enthusiasm in these voice acting roles that you have to do, it just didn't come across for me.
No. There's definitely something lacking in that whole character.
Yeah.
But whereas there were some parts of other characters that were really done well.
Yeah.
Especially as we said, Scar was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed the acting. The voiceover of the Scar.
Yeah.
It was very dramatic. It was very all the coming from the dark, side of Scar. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
So and even they portrayed the character pretty well. As we're talking about the CGI was to the point. When it comes to Scar, I think they pretty much just did the justice.
Yeah.
To that character.
And that's a credit to, I guess, the actors as well, who,
Yes.
It's hard sometimes when, we don't know exactly what happened in the studio, whether they were a bit confused which way to go. So we were talking about Timon and Pumbaa earlier. They stuck with their cartoon type characters. And their main role is to provide comedy in the movie, which they did. And they actually added a bit more. It wasn't just a copy of the previous role. They actually added a bit more to it. And there was more jokes and, more up-to-date, fresher comedy from them, which was great. There's even a little cameo or a little connection there with Beauty and the Beast. There's a scene where they get into the "Be Our Guest" song, so that was awesome. I really loved that.
Mademoiselle.
It was awesome. I love those sort of connections Disney does.
Yeah, no, that was really good.
The hyenas were good in some parts. Shenzi was excellent. Her interaction was like that side of interaction with the female lions we haven't seen before, and it was sort of like a battle for to be the lead female in that post Mufasa death scene where Scar takes over. Shenzi versus Sarabi. That was like they're really struggling for power. Both of them trying to take control. And Scar's got that carefree attitude. He brings the hyenas in and it just destroys everything. Yeah. We know the story. The story, they've pretty much done the same thing. They've changed little bits and pieces, but not as much as some of the previous Disney remakes. So some of the previous ones had more, I guess, bigger changes. But this was, minute changes, I think. That was, it was okay. The movie was okay. It was worth a watch, definitely for the CGI advancements. Yes. The best looking movie I've ever seen in terms of CGI. Yeah, it was. It is so realistic. It's
realistic, yeah. It's the first scene, the opening scene, I felt just took my heart away because it felt like it was so real. Yeah. Though we know it's not real and it's CGI. It's like a little rat running around, and then he's crawling through these leaves, and then you can see the flies in the background. So
and just all the animals.
It's so real.
In Circle of Life, animals, yes. The beginning and the end part. It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and the songs are picturized beautifully as well. The songs were so good that we were actually humming after the movie finished as well. The next morning too.
The only one song I thought it could have been a bit better was Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I really like the cartoon version a bit better. The issue with this movie was I tried not to compare it to the cartoon. Yeah, so you have to watch this movie and try not to compare it to the cartoon. Yeah. But because the story is almost exactly the same, you can't help but compare it. Yeah. So that was an issue. I just found myself. I said I'm not going to compare, but I kept comparing it back, and that's when you compare it, you can't beat the cartoon. Yeah, exactly. That was like the best. No. There's so much emotion that you can do, or so much faster shots and faster movement of these characters you can do in a cartoon environment rather than a photorealistic environment. Yeah. But look, it's worth a watch. I enjoyed it. I would definitely, recommend watching it.
You have to watch the movie and you have to enjoy without comparing it. So do not compare.
Try not to compare.
As I did. I did not compare it to the old movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. Especially the voiceovers. I was just kind of, thinking. I was actually not looking for the emotions on the face. I was just enjoying the dialogue delivery and the voiceover, and it really connected to me. So that worked for me. Yeah. And I hope it works for you as well.
Yeah. So if you've watched the movie, let us know in the comments below what you thought. Yeah. Before we head off, there are no after credit scenes. So no after credits. Disney didn't do after credits for this because there's no continuation to the story or connection with anything else. But
it would be nice to see, if Simba's
Pumbaa and Timon, jumping in.
Timon to go further. Maybe Disney, if you're watching, this review, maybe an idea, to take it more further, because audience like us would love to watch Pumbaa and Timon.
I just feel like they need to improve. I don't know how they're going to do that, but the connection, the emotion with the voice characters and, the photorealistic characters. So they've got to do something there. But overall, I think this is a good movie. It's worth a watch. It's gonna be one of those movies that you either love or you hate.
How can you hate Lion King? No,
you can't hate Lion King. I'm talking about the movie. The story you can't hate. You love the story, but Lion King, it's either you love or you hate. Yeah, and I think I'm getting that sort of feel with some of the reviews as well. Some of the critics either really hate this movie and some of them really love this movie. Yeah. So it's sort of, love or hate sort of movie.
I know. We have some heavy critics in our family even, so yeah.
And she's a very loose critic. She doesn't really,
Because I appreciate people's hard work. People do hard work for such
but movies. You've got to criticise as well.
Okay, you criticise.
So we hope you enjoyed the movie. Watch, if you do enjoy it, please comment. If you don't enjoy it, please comment below. We would like to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching The Lion King.
Thank you for watching, and thanks for our previous video that you really showed love us, and thank you for increasing those views and likes. We always appreciate it.
Definitely. Watch The Lion King.
Alright, see you guys next time. Bye.